Alright, let's get into a fund that a lot of churches and Christian charities don't fully understand, the Benefact Trust's Building Improvement Grants. If you work in a church building, a Christian charity, or you're responsible for maintaining a space that serves the community, this program is genuinely one of the most helpful capital funds out there. So let me talk you through it like we're having a chat over coffee. And if you ever need help preparing your application, remember, you can always reach out to the Grant Maven. So here's how it works. Benefact Trust's building improvement grants are designed to protect and enhance Christian buildings, especially where those buildings are actually used by the public. And that's the first big point many people miss. They are not just interested in preserving the building for heritage alone. They want to support buildings that remain active, open, and beneficial to people today. Think of it like this: if your church leaks every time it rains, if your hall needs a ramp so wheelchair users can enter, if you need new heating because the winter services are freezing, or if you want solar panels to reduce your long-term running costs, this grant is built for you. They fund capital work that keeps the building usable, safe, and sustainable. Let me break down the types of things they do fund, in real-life language. First, essential one-off repairs. Anything that keeps the building standing, open, and functional: roofs, damp, structural work, urgent repairs. Second, accessibility improvements: ramps, handrails, hearing loops, lifts, AV systems, anything that helps people participate more fully. Third, conservation work, the kind of heritage improvements that matter for historic churches: stained glass, bells, organs, carvings, interior features. Fourth, energy efficiency, one of the biggest gaps churches have. So if you need to upgrade lighting, switch to greener heating, improve insulation, or install solar panels, this program can help. And finally, aesthetic enhancements, making the space more welcoming. Fresh decoration, improved furniture, better outdoor space, as long as it improves user experience. Now, here's something they don't shout loudly about, but it's extremely important: your building must be in regular public use. Benefact Trust is not interested in funding a beautiful building that is closed 6 days a week. They want signs of life. Groups using the hall. Activities happening. People benefiting. Another point people miss is that this is a capital fund. They won't cover revenue, so no staff costs, no ongoing maintenance, no costs usually covered by insurance, and no feasibility studies. Just the actual capital work or equipment that's essential for the building. So who can apply? This part is simple. Churches, cathedrals, denominational bodies, and Christian charities across the UK and Ireland, but they must be registered charities unless they're exempt churches. Schools and theological colleges can only apply under other programs, so they're not eligible here. If your organization isn't Christian, or your building isn't primarily a Christian building, this program isn't the one for you. Now let's talk about money, because this is where many people get confused. You don't request a specific grant amount. Instead, you tell them your total project cost, how much you've already raised, and your fundraising plan. Then they calculate the grant for you. And yes, this means they might offer less than you hoped, but remember, they give hundreds of grants each year. They want to help as many projects as possible. Their grants start from £750 and go up to £100,000. But the majority are much smaller. For projects costing under £1 million, the average grant is around £3,300. For projects over £1 million, the average is around £46,000. But, and this is a big one, you must already have at least 30% of your project costs secured before you apply. If your project costs £100,000, you need to have at least £30,000 confirmed. The application portal won't even let you submit without this. And they want to see that you have a realistic plan for raising the rest. Benefact Trust should never be the first money you seek. They want to see commitment from your church, your congregation, your community, or other funders first. Another practical thing to keep in mind: if you're applying for energy efficiency work, they will ask what advice you've received. This could be an eco-audit, a diocesan advisor, professional advice, or your own research. They want to know your decision is informed, not random. Now, how often can you apply? This is straightforward too. Once you receive a building improvement grant, you must wait 2 years from the payment date before applying again to this same program. If you've received a grant under their previous program, the same 2-year rule applies. What about application times? Small grants under £10,000 are usually decided in around 2 months. Bigger grants, anything above £10,000, usually take between 4 and 6 months because they go to committee. If you're awarded a grant, the trust publishes your project in their annual report, sometimes features it on their website, and may contact you for publicity. You will also need to complete a short impact survey when the project is completed. And if your grant is above £10,000, you'll also need to submit a final report or annual progress reports for multi-year grants. Let me say this clearly for anyone watching who runs a church with an aging building. Benefact Trust is one of the most reliable and consistent funders when it comes to keeping Christian buildings alive. They understand heritage. They understand faith spaces. And they understand the financial pressure churches face today. If your building is leaking, cold, inaccessible, or operating on outdated systems, this is genuinely one of the best places to seek help. Before I wrap up, here's my biggest piece of advice: get your surveys, quotes, and project scope ready before you apply. They won't give more funding later if the cost suddenly increases because additional work was discovered. So do your homework up front. If this has been helpful and you want a breakdown of how to structure your Benefact Trust application, or you want support preparing bids for your church or Christian charity, reach out to me at the Grant Maven. And don't forget to subscribe. I have more funding breakdowns coming, so you won't miss opportunities like this.